I was born in Monterrey, Nuevo León. And so are my sister Nellie, both my sister Nellie and I. So we're immigrants that became citizens because that's a long story. But so we became citizens, and Benny was already born, but we all grew up in Del Rey. And it's not until my dad, and we went to Polish Mass and to English Mass because we belonged to St. John Cantius in Del Rey.
Yeah.
So I could yak shamash a little bit more than I could hablar español. Hablaba español en la casa. But, we we had to learn to speak English because the kids, were not very nice to us. So anyways, my dad started going he made the cursillo, my mom made the cursillo, and Raul, we haven't talked about the cursillo, Raul can tell you about the cursillo, but that is what brings it, and the cursillo is what brings, it's a cursillo movement, which started in Spain. And the Spanish priests brought it to America to evangelize Latinos, to help them to grow in faith. We are people of great faith. But we were not catechized. And so we needed to be catechized. And that's what the cursillo does, isn't it?
Yeah. So as we're, having this conversation, we're talking about obviously the early immigrants, the people of faith, people with a vision, with a special need. We all have needs. And we were learning to love each other, to build that unity, if you will, that community. And that's why we call this la iglesia como la base de la comunidad. The church, not the institutions necessarily, but we, our moms and dads, our brothers and sisters, our aunts and uncles, our grandparents. I mean, we extended to them. They had specific needs, right? Whether it was a financial need, or they needed a job, or they needed a place to stay.
Or medical
help.
Yeah.
So we were here for each other. That's really what we're talking about, the church here in Southwest Detroit, whether they were farm workers, labor workers, at Ford Motor Company or General Motors. Our dad worked at Fisher Body Fleetwood here in Delray. Zug Island is nearby. So our families came here to work either as migrant workers in the fields, in the factories, and now today we have more professionals moving in from Mexico and other parts. But again, going back to the early 50s, 60s, 70s, the first missionary church that you spoke about was Guadalupe in 1920, 1925 or so. And from there, it just evolved.
And that church, Benny, that church came from the people.
Exactly.
The people had that church built. The people built that little chapel. And that church, those people set for a priest in Mexico because there were no Spanish speaking priests. And that church, the people built. Mm-hmm. They built it, and they sent for a Mexican priest from Mexico, for somebody to come here and do the mass. And I don't know how they did, because if they had to get permission, I'm sure from the archdiocese where that by
the church when they found out that they had built the church came in and blessed it, and then made it a parish.
Oh, and then they made it a parish.
Yes.
So as we're talking again about the church, the activities, how do we welcome the new immigrants, of the 50s, 60s, 70s, even now, the new immigrants that are coming? I mean, what was your experience, Raul, as the director?
It was hard because
whether it's Monroe, Michigan, or Port Huron.
The church doesn't change easy.
No.
And the communities, most of the churches here were built by Polish, the European.
Yes.
Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want to give it up. That was their church. But the children moved out, and the old people died, and the church was empty. And the Hispanics began to move in. Mm-hmm. And there was a stroke.
Yeah.
A very a struggle, because they want to take our church away. Mm-hmm. That was the cry. They want to take our church away. That's our church. And I said, it is nobody's church. It's Jesus' church.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they can do nothing about it because St. Anne, Holy Trinity, Holy Redeemer, St. Stephen, St. Gabriel, they are still open because the Hispanic moved there.
Yes.
And I think I would just want to say another thing. Again, talking about the men and women that were involved in the Cursillo movement. Yes, Bob Power came as the spiritual director, but the ones who built St. Anne's were the people. The people were the ones that rolled up their sleeves and had the building redone. That building has been painted before because the Cursillistas were the ones that raised the money with the festivals that we remember the festivals, Raul? Our community raised the money to paint that church and have it all redone inside because St. Anne's has been falling for a long time. This is another generation that's coming in and finally rolling up their sleeves. But the first ones that roll up their sleeves were the Latinos. Even though there were already Mexican Americans or Mexicans that lived in Southwest Detroit, they couldn't afford to fix that church. It's not until a larger group of men and women, the Cursillistas, were the ones that came in and started, and they began cleaning it and taking all the things out of the building. And those same people were coming from other churches, from St. Gabriel's, from River Rouge, from Ecorse, from Royal Oak, from all other places, because the only place they knew was St. Anne's. St. Anne's was the one that had the biggest, that and Holy Trinity, because even Holy Redeemer, the people who, when people went for Mass at Holy Redeemer, they were in the basement. They weren't allowed in the church upstairs because there weren't enough of them, according to remember, Raul? So, and who has rebuilt Holy Redeemer?
Yeah.
The Latinos. St. Gabriel's, the Latinos. So down Southwest Detroit, the parishes that are here or are not here has to do with if there is not a Latino community involved in all of that. So the Latino community is the one that has built, and now they're, like Raul said, reaching their way out. They're up in Novi, they're in Auburn Hills, and they're not just professionals, Benny, they're also people who are laborers.